Everything around us consists of molecules. Anion is an atom, or a group of atoms carrying a negative charge. The charge results because there are more electrons than protons in the anion. Negative ion increases the flow of oxygen to the brain, resulting in higher alertness, decreasing drowsiness, and give more mental energy. The laws of nature are undeniable. All creation originated with a divine balance within it, and at the heart of the balance are anions. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to breathe in the forest versus the city, or in the mountain versus the desert? Obviously, the concentration of anions per unit of space may differ up to 40 times. Well, knowing this, the team of Winalite scientists have developed this concept, incorporating the force of nature into the technology intended to bring balance back into the human body. Every Love Moon anion sanitary napkin has been equipped with an insert which is capable of releasing up to 5,800 anions per cubic centimeter. Activation of such high volume of anions by contact with a fluid, such as bodily secretion, would generate a large volume of oxygen, and the negative ion, or anion, will attach to the bacteria. This process will produce a low electric current that will disallow the survival and multiplication of bacteria and viruses within the effective area. Menstruation is a vital part of every woman's life for 30 to 35 years, which calculates to roughly 2,500 critical days. During this period of time, a woman's body is weakened, and lack of safety measures could have a negative effect on her health. The cycle is associated with the blood hormone levels, and inflammation within the reproductive system causes changes in these levels. As the organs of the reproductive system work in conjunction with one another, the dysfunction of one leads to an imbalance within the entire body. Our skin is a large absorbing organ with a multitude of pores and folds which are a breeding ground for microbes. With a natural exposure, this causes no harm to us, but in a warm and moist place without access of light and oxygen, the processes of decay begin to take place. Through the genitalia, infections find their way into the internal organs of women's reproductive importance, and this is where the problems begin. All this leads to vaginal, ovarian, and tubal inflammatory processes, as well as issues with bladder, kidneys, and tracts. The reoccurrence of these inflammations, even when treated with medications, evolve into a chronic form. Majority of times, these chronic illnesses are not accompanied with the severe symptoms, but instead, the dull discomfort is something a woman gets used to, and the problem is being ignored. Prolonged chronic inflammations could develop into swellings and tumors, which, if recognized in time, can save a woman's life. Another great concern is the toxic shock syndrome. The toxic shock syndrome is a rare, life-threatening bacterial infection that has been most often associated with the use of tampons and occasionally with the use of contraceptive sponges. Many things could be said about various pathologies and problems women are facing today, but we will redirect your attention to the solution rather than the problem. Every inflammatory problem within the human body, every illness or disease is associated with a positive atomic charge, whereas anions, as we have recalled before, are negative. This is where the ingeniousness of technology shines. Simplicity. Basic equation of balance. Take the positive and balance it out with the negative. Winalite's insert, possessing an abundance of negative anionic charges, is intended to directly address the women's issues, and it does so as direct as possible. Love Moon anion sanitary napkins were created with a total health idea to not just prevent future problems, but to restore the health of every woman as well. The processes of oxygenation and electric exchange target only the positively charged atoms of bacteria, viruses, or other symptomatic occurrences, thus renovating the defense of the organism and stabilizing the overall well-being of a woman. You're about to see what is actually inside of these wonder-making sanitary napkins by Winalite. You will see how they compare to some of the other products on the market, even though there is no comparison. To be fair, we will be comparing a few well-known and most commonly used brands against that of Winalite. The very first thing you will notice is the packaging. Using food-grade foil, this compact and hermetic package could be easily opened and resealed, disallowing moisture and bacteria-covered items to come in contact with what will soon come in touch with you. This wrapping provides yet another level of security. All Love Moon products are made and packaged in a sterile environment, where production is stopped every 2 hours and everything is disinfected before continuing for another 2 hours. The cycle is repeated. With a state-of-the-art facility located in the Guangdong province, China, the 1 million square foot manufacturing wonder is able to produce and package over 3 billion napkins per year. Possessing an international certificate of quality ISO 9001 has made it easier for the product to pass through the FDA in the States. And this is how the other stuff is packaged. You will see that moisture, bacteria come in contact with what will soon touch you. Most brands on today's market have a serious shortfall in their base. The absorber within them consists of recycled paper, cardboard, and typography of sorts, such as newspapers and magazines. Presence of different bleaches, whitening compounds, dioxin, lead associated with print ink and other chemicals linked to the process of recycle all have a negative effect on the reproductive system. This continuous weakening of the organism permits the development of bacteria, viruses, and funguses. The synthetic bottom exterior layer prevents access of air, creating humidity, thus contributing to these developments. Statistics show that 83% of women have some kind of gynecological dysfunction, and that 62% of them are caused by use of inferior pads. Contrary to these products, Love Moon anion sanitary napkins are made of 100% cotton, using a micromembrane. The exterior layer here allows the air to enter, while the secretions are safely absorbed. The absorber itself is an organic plant-based gel, which is safe in use and surpasses any competition with the take-in qualities. During her critical days, an average woman secretes about 50 milliliters of blood per day, about 1.7 fluid ounces. We will pour 50 milliliters of water onto each sample. 50 milliliters of water onto sample number 1. Also 50 milliliters of water onto sample number 2. And 50 milliliters of water onto anion sanitary napkin by Love Moon. And now we will show how well each sample has absorbed the water by placing a napkin on the pad. Say in a non-average woman who would secrete more, we will add another 50 milliliters of water. Another 50 milliliters of water onto sample number 1, totaling 100 milliliters. Another 50 milliliters of water onto sample number 2, also totaling 100 milliliters. And another 50 milliliters of water onto sample number 3, that of Winalite, also totaling 100 milliliters. And now, once again, we will see how well each sample has absorbed the water by placing another napkin onto each pad. For our next comparison, we will take a look inside each pad to see what each is made of. Please pay attention to the top layer. The synthetic disallows the air to access, thus permitting processes of decay to take place. And this one is totally dry. See the fibers? This is 100% cotton, which gives the feeling of dry comfort. Now, as for the absorber, let's see how well they retain the fluid when pressure is applied. Sitting down is the most common type of pressure a woman can put on her protection barrier, and how uncomfortable and unpleasant it would be to get a leak. As you can see, the gel inside Love Moon product does not release the water back. In fact, we'll place it in some more water into this glass here and see what happens. And that is one full glass of water and no leaks. Amazing! And look, the hand is dry. That is why the product of Winalite's Love Moon have 7 layers of thought-through functional protection. Layer number 1, the premium softened surface, with double absorbency. Layer number 2, exclusive patented negative ion technology. Layer number 3, sterile filtering barrier. Layer number 4, plant-based gel with superior absorbency. Layer number 5, sterile filtering barrier. Layer number 6, breathable but water-resistant bottom layer that allows free flow of air. Layer number 7, easy to peel off dietary adhesive. Obviously, what you have just witnessed reveals the superiority of Love Moon Anion sanitary napkin to the rest of the product on the market. It is absolutely apparent that Love Moon product is of better quality and would be used by most who come to find out about it. To once again emphasize the importance of such product in today's world, a woman may not buy a new fragrance or a nightgown, but she will buy a menstrual product. It is not a form of luxury, but of an absolute necessity.